Hey guys, this is Dr. Callahan for Algebra 2 Semester 2. Welcome to week 18 Friday. This is really like our last regular week before next week, which is week 19. So just to put things into perspective for you guys, if you take a look at the breakdown of what we have, this is week 18 Friday, which is actually, I'm gonna delete this. That doesn't look good. I don't like that at all. Let's see here. Let's get rid of that. There we go. Okay, that looks better. So today is the 20th. This is week 18 Friday. Next week is your regular last week, which is week 19, Monday through Friday, because the one after that is week 20, and there's no school on that Monday because it is Memorial Day weekend, so it's kickoff for the summer. And then I want to see you guys on Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. Thursday is the very last day for you to turn anything in. That is it. That is your very last day. After that, I don't want to see any of it. And then Friday, your final starts, but not with me. It's for period 1 and 2. And then I will see you guys on the 6th, which is going to be your final that Monday at 7:45 in the morning for third period. If you're going to be 15 minutes late, that's fine. Anything over 15 minutes late, that door's going to be locked. And so you're going to have it incomplete, and you'll just take your final next year when you guys come back here in August. It is a timed test. I'm not even supposed to have anybody come in after 15 minutes, but given the fact that it's 7:45 in the morning, I'll give you guys until 8 o'clock. Okay, but don't say anything to anybody else. But after 8 o'clock, that's it. I'm locking the doors. You won't have enough time for your test. It's 2 hours, which is a long time, but then your test is pretty long as well. When you guys walk in here, you're not going to be sitting like this. It's going to be separated in rows and columns. And so you'll be facing the wall, and then I'll have a timer on the projection board right there, so you see exactly how many more minutes you have left on the test. After you guys are done with the test, you give me your answer Scantron. I scan it with my computer. Make sure your Scantron is clean. If you have like drool or hot Cheetos on it, that's gonna be a problem because the computer's not gonna pick that up. If they don't pick it up or mark it wrong, I wouldn't know that there was a default or if there was something wrong with it. So after that, I'll insert on Infinite Campus, and then you'll have your final overall grade, hopefully before you guys leave that day. Okay, and that's it. And then you guys become seniors. For those guys who are seniors in this class, there are a few of you guys. You're going to be taking your final not on that day because we have to get your senior grades in beforehand for senior graduation. So you guys will be taking your test on the 26th, which is next Thursday. You're not going to be taking it with me. You're going to have somebody pull you out of your regular classes, and you're going to be testing over in the library. So there's 3 of you guys who are seniors in this class, so you guys will not be taking that test with me. You'll be taking it next Thursday. Does that make sense, you guys? So if you're a senior, make sure you go through your instructional materials, your study guide before then, okay? All right, June 2nd, last day for Math Excel, last day for any of the hard copies. I actually reserved a table for you guys. Does everybody see that table right there with the green bin where I'm pointing it by the printer? All the missing stuff that you guys have is right there. Okay, if you need to grab anything, feel free to grab it. I'm not gonna, like specifically give it to you. If you need any of the missing materials, it's just right there. That is your table. This one right here is province stats, so just leave it there. And then my algebra 1s are over there. So if it's on your table, just find another desk for the next few days. Yeah. That's it. When you guys show up to the final, the only thing you need is a TID4, which I will have here. I'll give you an answer Scantron. I'll give you a number 2 pencil, and then a test booklet. You'll be assigned a specific number. So that test book is yours. You cannot switch it with somebody else. 4 years ago, I had a freshman who came in, took the test, and then decided to leave before we collected all of the tests. So he took the test booklet with him as he left. And I didn't see him because I was busy over here collecting the test. So when I had one of the tests missing, I realized this kid wasn't in my class. And so they literally they had to shut the whole school down. And they were looking for this kid, checking out the garbage can. And luckily they found his test in one of the garbage cans that he just threw out. And I was like, you're such a jerk. You couldn't just leave it to take my damn test too. So you had to create this inconvenience for everybody involved. And we all have to sit here, wait until they found the damn test. But yeah, so don't take the test out. Okay. It's a common district final. Everybody in the 13 high schools in Washoe County is taking the same test. So if one test book is missing, it's a big freaking deal. Okay. So don't leave. And that's why I always put like a bell on my door from now on. And I also close the door. So if you're leaving, I at least know somebody's moving out. So yeah, don't take the test, please. Okay. Just keep it here. Don't be an asshole. And this is being recorded, so I totally said that on YouTube, but that's okay. So this is your grade breakdown. Your grades in your Infinite Campus is between 5 to 10. You guys know what you have to do. So here is your YouTube channel. Now thinking about it, I'm like, maybe I should edit that word out because it is on YouTube channel. I'm like, maybe I shouldn't say that, but that's okay. So this is your class. There are 85 videos there. And so your last one yesterday is week 18 Thursday. So it's already there. Okay. So everything you guys need to be successful to pass this class is given to you guys. Your warm-up is coming up. So if you're like, okay, look at your warm-up block, you guys, just take a glance at right now. Like, how many empty boxes do you have there? If you have several, I mean, luckily it's already numbered for you guys. So if you have one, let's say that is like blank for week, whatever, 14 Thursday, you just need to scroll up to week 14 Thursday, which is right there. And then you just pause the video in the very beginning. Hold on a second, I'm trying to move it over. There we go. There we go. And that's your warm up for week 14 Thursday. And you just pause the video, answer the questions, make sure the boxes are filled out. And that's all you guys have to do to get your warm up block done. Okay, let's go back to what we were doing. All right. So yesterday, which was week 18 Thursday, if you were not here yesterday, if you were late, I had you guys grab sticky notes and check out the lowest scores for you guys. So anything you get a 5 in, a 5.5 or a 6, those are considered kind of low scores. Those are the weeks you want to focus in and change it by doing either something else a little bit more, watch a YouTube channel, fill out your guided notes, do the assessments, etc. Okay, so those are your lowest scores. So make sure you guys do that over the weekend. If you're a procrastinator and you're like, I'm just gonna wait till the last minute, this is it. This is the last minute. You don't really have any more weeks after this. So if you're waiting to the end, this is the end. You're going to have to kind of catch up with everything that you've like kind of forgoed and decided not to do. So this weekend, think about your warm-up block. Actually, I'm going to change that a little bit. So give me 1 second. So think about your warm-up block. That's the number one thing that I would suggest you do. Think about the weeks that you need to improve in. Math, Excel, and then also the Wednesday assessments is something you should also consider. If you have any M's on IC, that's considered missing. So make sure you guys do that. And study guide for final. And let's see. Oh, extra activity handouts from class from the YouTube channel. All the extra ones I have is right over there. Like I said, over there where the green bin is. So take a look to see where you're missing. Get it done, you guys. This is it. This is the end. All right. So let's go ahead and move on. So this is your breakdown for your study guide. And today we went over yesterday questions 1 and we continued on. So if you were not here yesterday and you don't have any work on your study guide for questions 1 to 6, you need to make sure you watch the video for week 18 Thursday to get caught up. Okay. Your final is not going to be easy. Your questions are going to be very similar to the questions right here. Today is Friday and we are going to be done with logs. So we're definitely not going to be talking about logs anymore because I am done talking about it. And I think you guys are probably done talking about it as well. So your objective is simply just going to be study guide. That's it. Study guide for final day 2. We're going to go over questions starting at number 7. And this is going to be your grade for week 19 and 20 in Infinite Campus because there's no more Math Excel. So this is what you're going to be focusing on and also at home. I'll give you guys a Padlet for your exit ticket. So the only thing you need today is your TI-84. So come on up and grab that. And then also you need to have highlighters so that way you can highlight your answers. And we're going to be focusing on your study guide for the last 2 weeks. And then you guys take your final and then become seniors or graduate high school and go on to bigger and better things. So make sure you guys grab those materials. So TI-84 and then a highlighter. Yes. Absolutely. I don't think so. You're gonna give me a second. I'm like, I don't know where I put it. Okay. Does anybody else need a study guide? If you need one, please come up and grab one. And then just make sure you guys watch the video because it doesn't do any good to have a study guide if you don't know how to do the problem. So just watch the video from week 18 Thursday. And that way you know how to score an A+ on the final. All right, so this was my progression, but I think I'm gonna have to adjust it a little bit because each of the question took me a lot longer to explain to you guys. So yesterday we actually just finished question number 1 to 6. So today we're gonna go over 7. We're already kind of behind, but that's okay. Maybe 7 to 15, hopefully. But my hope is that by, well, your test is gonna be on that Monday. So we'll definitely be done by week 20 Thursday. So we have a bit of time. So, you know, we can be slow about it. It's not a big deal. All right, so let's go ahead and get started. So for number 7, this is what you have. We started this question and then I couldn't finish it because, you know, the bell rang, but we ended it with m. We're factoring out the m. So then you have 3m squared minus 2m minus 5 equals 0. My goal here now is with your highlighter, you want to factor out the inside parenthesis. And this is not going to be easy because it's not like a direct one. There is a number right here. The 3 is what's going to trip you up. But remember, you're going to take that 3, multiply by the last number, and you're going to create a chart. 3 times -5 is a -15. That's going to be your L for your last number. M on the right side is going to be your -2. And because you have negative numbers, you got to ask yourself, what negative numbers multiplied together give me a -15? Okay, so you put that back. So for those of you guys who just grabbed the wrong one, like if you guys the wrong one, it's over here. That's what. Sorry. Yep. And like, yeah, it's gonna be right here. So you need to have right there. Yeah. Sorry, I'll take that one back. Here, I'll take that one back. I'll take that. Thank you. Yep, that's that one. You want to ask yourself, what times what gives me a -15, but it's a negative number? So -5 and 3, +5, -3, -1, 15, or +1 and -15. 4 different options, but only one of them, when you add them together, is going to give you a -2. So which one is that going to be? That's the only one that works for me. So then your next step is I'm going to go ahead and factor that. So I have m minus 5, m plus 3. But that's not your answer. Remember how you multiplied by the 3? You now have to do the opposite of that. So opposite of multiplication is division. So I'm going to divide it by 3 on both. Well, 3 divided by 3 gives me a 1. You guys agree with that? That just gives you a 1. 3 does not go into 5, so you got to move that 3 in front of it. So 3m minus 5 is your second part of your answer. So for those of you guys who are on their cell phone, just keep in mind that your grade for week 19 and 20 is specifically going to be on this packet because you will have to turn it in. So I will be collecting it. Okay, so maybe, I don't know, focus and try to study for the final so you do well on the final when you guys take it. So then you have 3 answers. And grab your highlighter. Your first answer is the M. This is your second answer. This is your third answer in the green. You haven't set it equal to 0 yet, so you have to solve for it. So your first answer is m is equal to 0. That's your first answer. Your second answer is 3m minus 5 equals 0. If you solve for it, that's going to be a positive 5 over 3. Your third answer is m plus 1 equals 0. So if you solve for that, opposite of a positive 1 is a negative 1. This is your answer right here. So which one does that match? A, B, C, or D? I think it matches A. And that's the one that you will select. Okay, let's take a look at number 8. Number 8 has x to the 4th power, and already I don't like it. So yeah. Well, first thing I'm gonna do is move that 10 over to the left side. So x to the 4th minus 3x squared, opposite of minus or positive 10 is a minus 10 equals 0. So then you're gonna put it into parentheses. And because this is x to the 4th, you know you're not just gonna have x, you're gonna have x squared on both, okay? And then you're gonna make a chart. Last number is -10, middle number is -3. I'm gonna have to use negative numbers because my answers are negative. You know, the numbers I'm using are negative. So -1 and 10, 1 and -10, -2 and 5, +2 and -5. Only one of them is gonna add up to a -3, and it's this one right here. So then I put, and I, notice how like it's just a 1 right here, right? The other one was a 3. You know how we multiply the 3 to the last number? In this case, we don't have to do that. So you don't have to divide it by a 3. So my answer is just x plus 2, x squared minus 5 equals 0. But you're not done yet because we look at your answers right there. Your answers are solved for x. So then what I have to do is let's solve them for x. So x squared plus 2 equals 0. X squared equals -2. How to get rid of a square? You square root it. Opposite of a square is not a circle, although my little freshmen's like that. So your x is equal to plus or minus square root of 2. But you can't have a negative in the square root, you guys. Remember there's a number that I had you guys do, which is I. So that I basically is an imaginary number and it's -1. And if you're like, well, why do I have an I there? If you think about it, square root of 2 or negative square root of 2 is going to be the same thing as square root of 2 times the square root of -1, right? And what is square root of -1? I. So then your x is just plus or minus I square root of 2. That's your first answer. So immediately A can't be it. B cannot be it. So it could be either C or D, okay? So then I'm gonna take a look at my next one. This is my next answer right here. X squared minus 5 equals 0. Add the 5 on both sides. X squared equals a +5. There's no negative square roots involved. So it's just a plus or minus square root of 5. And that's my next answer. So in that case, the only one that will work is D. Well, actually, you know what? I could have just canceled C because if you look at C, you guys, C doesn't have the I, so it couldn't be C. So your only option, before you even solved it was just D. So yeah, that works. All right, number 9. So, oh my gosh, that looks absolutely crazy. I don't even want to do this one. Okay, so for this one, as I'm looking at it, I'm like, I have a few idea what my answer is, but I'm gonna go back to my answer page just so I know what it is so I can do this correctly. So for number 9, it is answer C. And here's another skill. If you're like, I don't know how to do question number 9, but I have all of this packet that I've collected in this class, which packet is going to be on, guess what? The answers are organized. So this is actually under topic number 3 on polynomials. So you just need to go to that topic or that packet and then review the materials because obviously you don't know it. Okay, so that's another skill that you guys can use. So 9 is C. So that is my answer. But now I have to figure out why is that my answer. So here it says, write the equation of a cubic function. So if this is cubic, cubic is 3. So it cannot be D because it's x squared. And it's probably not going to be B because it's x to the fourth. 4 is a quadratic. Or I'm sorry, not quadratic. Quadratic will be D, will be x squared. And 4 is, I don't know how I guess it'll just be x to the fourth power. So it could either be A or C because they both have x to the third. Okay. Next thing that it says is that it's a 0. So 0 means that x equals -4. So if I have to put it back before it was solved, it'll be x plus 4 equals 0. Okay. And then x, let's see, -3 plus square root of 5. I think that's how we're gonna do it. I'm not 100% sure. Equals 0. You know what? I'm gonna put a question mark on this. I'll go back to it, but I'm gonna have to do a little research. I kind of forgot how to do this one, but that's okay. I'll go back to it. Number 10. I don't like this question either. This one sucks. All right. Given the two function, you have f of x and g of x. Which of the following statement is correct? All right, let's go take a look at the answer. So number 10. Number 10, the answer is C. So let's go back. So it's this answer right here. Oh, actually, this one's a pretty easy one. All right, so if you look at F right here, with the F, if you set equal to 0, it has to be opposite. X equals -1, x equals +4, x equals -5. When you look over here at G right here, because it's asking you for the G, do you see how G says it's just 2 times f of x? So it doesn't matter to have a 2 in front of it. No, that's not going to change anything. So this is still going to be my answer right there. So the only one that works is C as in cat. And if you're like, I don't like that, the way you explain it, how do I know that 2 isn't going to affect anything? Because if you have the 2 right here, what's opposite of a 2 times? Isn't it 2 divide? So that 2 cancels. 0 divided by 2 is still 0. Did anything change on the left side? No, you still have this. Nothing changed. Because if you divide it by that 2, 0 divided by 2 is 0. Nothing changed. Your answer still is 1, 4, and -5. Okay, number 11. Which of the following function is odd? So I'm just gonna go ahead and take a look at the answers and make sure that we're on the right path. This is the last one on polynomial. The correct answer is B as in boy. So I'm gonna go back over here. Whoops. Now I just lost my spot. Okay, so the correct answer is B as in boy. If it's talking about an odd function, remember the way that you test this is that if you put in a negative x, that have to equal to a negative f of x in order for it to be odd. Or if you do this on a graph, so the equation wise, if you replace all the x's with a negative x and that equals the opposite of f of x, it will be an odd. On the other hand, the test for odd is if you have a graph. Okay, so this is the second method. That's the first method. This is the second method. For you to graph it, you simply draw a diagonal. And if the picture reflects over that diagonal exactly, then you know it's odd. And what I'm talking about is with your highlighter, you're just going to draw a diagonal like that. Okay. So now we're going to do is going to look at this. Do you see on the left side, this part is green? If I flip that over that blue line, does that graph look like this part right here? So far, yes, right? Can you guys see that? And then with your highlighter, take a look at the left side in orange. If I were to flip that over this blue line, would that give me the same on the right side of that blue line? Yes, it would. And then your last piece is going to be this red piece right here on the left. If I flip it over this blue line, would it give me that part right there? Yes, it would. And because it reflects over and it's symmetric, oops, this one is odd. Now, if I were to test with the equation, like number one, let's see why A is not odd, okay? Because on the question, they might actually give you A as odd. You just don't know what kind of equation they give you. So what you do is you replace the X with a negative X. So you do F of negative X, okay? And anytime you see an X, you replace with a negative X. So 12 times negative X to the fifth minus 4 times negative X squared plus 3. Remember, if you have a negative number to an odd degree, like 3, 5, 7, it is always negative answer. If you have a negative number to a even power, like 2, 4, 6, your answer is always going to be a positive sign, okay? And that matters because, look, when you're going to be focusing in on negative X to the fifth, that's odd. That's going to give you a negative answer. Versus this one right here, which is negative X squared, that's even, that's going to give you a positive answer. So then when you go ahead and reduce this, negative X to the odd number is a negative X to the fifth. So this piece right here is a negative 12X to the fifth. That's what you have to do. This piece right here, negative X squared is even, so it'll give you a positive X squared, like a positive 4X squared. But do you see the negative right here? Negative times that positive gives me a negative. So it's a negative 4X squared. You gotta be careful with the negatives. And plus 3, okay? So you're like, okay, well, is this odd? But you gotta ask yourself, does this equal to the negative version of f of x? Because if it equals the negative f of x, it is odd. So you're like, what is a negative version of f of x? Well, the positive version is a 12x to the fifth. So a negative version is a negative 12x to the fifth. So far they match. Opposite of a negative 4x squared is a positive 4x squared. Opposite of a positive 3 is a negative 3. Do these two match? They do not match because this is a negative f of x. And since the red and the black answer do not match, you know it's not odd. But that's technically how you would check to see if the equation is odd. All right, number 12. Oh, I don't like this question either. All right, number 12. Inversely. All right. Like when I was doing this with like algebra 1 stuff, I had like no problem because I'm like, it's algebra 1, now it's algebra 2. I'm like, dang it, I don't remember some of the stuff. All right. Granted, I also haven't taught algebra 2 in like 2 years, or it was like 6 years because I took over your class from this Mr. Williams. So anyways, so inverse equation. I'm just gonna Google it, and so that way we can find the equation to it. Inverse function. No, that's not what I want. I want if a function is, how do I want to word it? Varies inversely. Okay, so let's go back over to here. If a function varies inversely. So let's see. Okay, this is what it will look like. Let me grab that. like, yeah, if you don't really understand what you're doing, I oftentimes just use Google to like kind of remind me how it works. And then if I still can't figure it out, I'll go to like a YouTube video on it and then I'll be like, oh, okay, I understand that now. Now let's apply it to this. All right, so if something is inversely, it varies inversely, this is the equation that you work. I mean, you'll be using, because if it varies directly, so if it varies directly, that's the opposite of inversely. Y equals K times X, right? On the other hand, if it varies indirectly or inversely, which is what they're asking you here, Y equals K times 1 over X. You just have to flip it, okay? So now let's go ahead and take a look what's given to me. X is 1.5. So X will be right here. So I'm highlighting it so I know where to put it. Y is 8. That is 8, okay? So then what are you trying to find here? Well, what's the only one that's available? You're trying to find K. That's what you need to find. So then you can answer what it's asking you, which is this piece right here in blue, okay? So let's do that. 8 equals K times 1 over 1.5. Let's go ahead and solve for K. 8 equals 1 times K is K over 1.5. Well, remember back in 4th grade when you guys did like fractions and you crisscross multiplied? We're going to do that. We're going to crisscross and multiply. 8 times 1.5, and this is where you're going to need your calculator. So let me bring up my calculator. And for those of you guys on Zoom, you could just grab your calculator and just literally put 1.8 or 8 times 1.5. Okay, so 8 times 1.5 on my calculator gives me a 12, okay? So then I know that this is 12. 12 is equal to 1 times K is going to be K. So that I have this answer right here. 12 equals K. So then what does that mean? I'm going to take that number, I'm going to put it right here for this equation in orange. So my new equation is Y is equal to 12 times 1 over X, okay? And I need that equation to solve the part in blue. In the part in blue, what it's asking me is, what is Y? So they want to figure out what Y is when X is negative 20. So you're going to replace that X with a negative 20. Y equals 12 times 1 over negative 20. Y equals 12 times 1 is a 12 divided by negative 20. If you look at the answer right here, they don't give you any choices, okay? There is no multiple choice. It is a fill in the blank. So FIB, fill in the blank. So you can't guess on questions like this. So you're going to grab your calculator and you're just going to do 12 divided by negative 20, which is then going to give you a negative 0.6. Since your answer is negative 0.6, you're just going to put positive, or actually negative, sorry, negative, it's a negative 0.6. So negative up here, 0.6. But then you also have to like circle it. So then you're going to do negative, circle the dot, and then go down to 6. Yeah, it's like a process. It's a lot more difficult than if you're just doing multiple choice where you're circling A, B, C, or D. So this one requires a little bit of finesse and a little bit of work. If you're falling asleep right now in class, you're going to have one hell of a time trying to do this for 2 hours on your final. For those of you guys who are still awake with me, that's good, because this is important, you guys. I want to make sure that you guys know how to do this. All right, let's go on to the next one. Number 13. Don't worry, I'm not going to keep working on this. Like when we get to 15, we'll stop, okay? Or maybe 14, we'll see. Translate this 2 units up. And so 2 units up, so that's the one highlight. 1 to the right. Which of the following function is going to be the translation? So this is the one where you move the functions, okay? So this is the one where you have y is equal to 1 over x minus h plus k. Now you want to write that down so you know how things move. that negative h is going to determine whether you go to the left or right. If it's a negative h, you're going to go to the right. If it's a positive h, you go to the left. It's opposite. I get it. Yeah, that's true. It's correct. Positive k tells you you're going to go up. Negative k means that you're going to go down. So if I'm going to go 2 up, then my equation will be 1 over, well, will there be a plus 2 on the right side? 1 to the right will be x minus 1, like that. Uh-oh, I don't actually see an answer there. To the right. All right, well, it doesn't like my answer here to the right. Let's see which one is my answer. Let's go back over here. I'm thinking maybe it's A, but I'm not 100% sure. And this is number 13, so it's actually B. So let's go back. Let's figure out what happened here. So it's B. Okay, so 13, the correct answer is B. And let's see. That's okay, because I'll tell you what, if we can't figure out with the equation, we can certainly do this with a calculator. So grab our calculator. All right, we're just gonna graph it and see which one matches the equation that I'm looking for, okay? So here's your equation. You're gonna go to y equals, your original equation is just 1 over x. Do you guys see that? So we're just gonna graph 1 over x. So 1 divided by x, graph. Oh, and you know what? The reason why it's not gonna work because it's in a division, 1 over x. So it's gonna be a little bit weird. So make sure your table is gonna be -10, +10. -10, I have +50, so I don't want that. I just want 10. So I can look at my table a little bit easier. Like that. So this right here is 1 over x. I now need to figure out which one's the equation that is going to give me the translation of, let's see, what does it want me to do? 1 to the right and then 2 up. The correct answer is B. So let's go to y equals, go down, or we're gonna graph this one, okay? But with this one, you're gonna be a little bit careful. You're gonna put parentheses, 2x minus 1, close parenthesis, divided by, and then you're gonna type in x minus 1. Close parenthesis, and then graph. When you guys graph this, take a look at the red versus the blue. Does it look like in the red that it went 1 to the right and went up by 2? I don't know about you, but it kind of does, doesn't it? Sorry, I'm just pasting this right here. I'm going to paste this right over here as well. Okay, so now let me explain this to you. So when you guys look at this right here, you're supposed to go 2 up, 1 to the right. Your blue one is the original one. The red one, does it look like the red one from the blue one went 2 up? And it kind of does. So 2 up and then 1 unit over to the right. Okay, now you can graph all the other ones, A, C, and D, and you're gonna be able to see that it's not gonna be going in that same direction. So your correct answer is B as in boy, okay? Okay, so number 14, maybe we'll just make this our last one. I think that would be a good idea. Yeah, this will be our last one. For number 14, it says identify the asymptote, domain, range, and the function of this function right here. Oh my goodness. Okay, so your asymptote is always going to be in the denominator. So the asymptote is going to be right here. Okay, if you take the denominator, set equal to 0, x cannot equal to 2. Why not 2, you ask? Because if x is 2, isn't 2 minus 2 0, and going back to 3rd grade, you can't have a 0 in your denominator because it's undefined. So your asymptote is y does not equal 2. So the fact, I'm sorry, not equal, does not equal, cannot equal, but x is 2. This is your asymptote. So looking at this right here, B can be it because it says none. C can be it because it's 0 and -1. And just to make sure that my answer is correct, I'm gonna go back to the answers and just check. So for number 14, it is A as an apple. I think I'm good because A is still a runners up. All right, so the only one that works is x equals 2 for A, x equals 2 for D, okay? And then from here, take a look at A and D. What else do they have that's different? The range is not the same. Okay, the range is saying D is at -1 and A is at -8. Well, given the fact they have -8 right there, I'm thinking it's going to be A because just by process of elimination. But to make sure, let's just go ahead and graph it. Okay, so grab your calculator. And you're just going to do y equals, and you want to delete everything from the previous one so that way that's not going to mess you up. And I'm just going to do parenthesis 2 divided by, and the bottom, x minus 2, close the parenthesis, minus 8. And actually, I don't like that. I'm going to have to use different parentheses. So insert parenthesis on top, insert, so that's a 2 on top, then parenthesis on the denominator, and then minus 8. Graph. And that makes sense because you see how like there's -8 right there, and -8, does it ever go anywhere else past that -8? It doesn't, right? So the -1 for D doesn't make any sense because -1's right there and your graph actually does kind of come close to that. But at -8, there is absolutely nothing. Like the blue line is not touching -8 right there. Do you see that? And you can also change your window a little bit to make it a little bit bigger on the bottom. So you can go down to Y minimum, maybe change it instead to a -10, you could do a -15 and then hit graph. And now we can see a little bit better. But yeah, this does confirm it. Like if you look over here at -8, there is absolutely no graphs over here. So the only one that could work is A as an apple, you guys. Okay. And that's the difference between algebra 2 and algebra 1. Algebra 1, you don't use a graphing calculator. Algebra 2, you need to know where the buttons are to get to the correct answer. Okay, let's just finish number 15. I think it'll be good. Okay, let's do number 15. Which of the following is an equivalent form? Actually, you know what? No, just kidding. I'm gonna stop right here. We're not gonna do it. So next, for those of you guys on Zoom, I'm gonna have you guys go ahead and just jump into the exit ticket, which is right here. Finish it on the Padlet, and I hope you guys have a wonderful week, and we'll continue this on Monday.